I gotta get rid of.
All right, we ready to get started here?
Coming, give me just a second. Take it ready. Watch your hand, I'm a big girl.
Anybody else have these things?
Wow, my chair just sunk way.
That's why I
in
make
there.
big cuts.
Where are we at?
Thank you.
Can you get it in
This
this?
you want this?
No, I didn't want trouble talking,
That's what we done.
We all
Yeah,
that's all.
that's
Oh, that's fine.
Hoping to go from off, but.
Start going then. No, the wife said there was some water.
How's she doing, Rick?
She moved up good, I mean, real good. She gonna be down for a while. Oh, man, I love her.
You have an extra paper.
Make sure we get in.
Don't take from yourself.
No, I have one sheet, I have several.
All right, we're ready.
Playing?
We're recording.
Oh, it's curious one. Steve, I guess it's up to you and Lori here.
All right. Thank you. All right. Make sure I've got this correct. This is progress meeting number 2.
Yes.
All right, make sure I got that correct. All right, this is the City of Piedmont, Pearl Street Pump Station, the Water Street Pump Station Replacement Project. This is progress meeting number 2, July 12th, 5:30 p.m. This progress meeting will be a little bit different than all the other progress meetings we've had in the past, in that we will discuss the project, we will indicate what the invoices will be, what these invoices will bring to you, with your permission, at your next meeting on the 26th. Due to vacation schedules to Marty and to me, we didn't get them in time to Pam.
I'm over here.
Pam, and so we don't have all the paperwork prepared. I just got the actual invoices, so I'll get those to Pam in the next couple of days for both the contractor and for Thrasher, and with your permission, we'll bring it to you at the next meeting on the 26th. So, but we can still discuss the project progress today. So, notice to proceed was May 15th, 2017. We would hope to have substantial completion on October 12th, final completion November 11th. There were no bad weather days claimed. There was a few bad weather days, but we allow 4, so we take the number -4, and if it's less than or equal to 0, then there's none. So there were none claimed. Percent completion on the project to date with work and stored materials is, if you look on that first spreadsheet block, it's 20.5%, and the percent complete based on the work only. This is as of a couple weeks ago, the 23rd, was 16.8% complete. Our project, we've had Cody out there every day, and we're up to close to $9,000 in inspection fees, which is about 30% of our inspection budget. We need to watch that to make sure we can keep that in budget. We'll have to make some adjustment to that. That's an hourly deal there with the inspection budget. So that's where we're at for there. And then, right now we're about two months into construction. We have 5 for substantial completion, about 40%. So we're really running a little bit behind schedule. Contractor didn't start right on the day we gave us to proceed. Things are taking some time. We're running into things out there that are difficult. Seeing some debris in some of these manholes. I'll describe what was been accomplished when we get to that in a minute. So the work completed to date, the line going at the railroad up the steep hill and tying in, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, was it Robbie? Robbie Robertson, you guys probably know him. And that has been completed. That line ended up being no longer than what we anticipated, but that's all covered under the pay items. So if it's 80 feet times whatever the unit price was, or 60 or 100, whatever the difference is, we got that accounted for. We had to add a manhole up there to make that connection, so we have a pay item for manhole. And then his lateral was tied into the old line. It sort of went uphill, so to make it sewage flow downhill, we added a connection there for him. And that was not billed with this pay yet, because that was done after the close of quantities on the 23rd, but that'll all, we'll see that in the next pay application. So that's been basically completed up there. They went up to Pearl Street, and they're running from where they're connecting into the existing system. We call that manhole 10, that's what your system app calls it. We added manhole 10A, 10B, and 10C, and got the line in there. And today, as Ben probably knows, he probably hasn't been able to get home.
No, I haven't been home since 6:30 this morning.
So the road is open cut, and they're backfilling now. It should be open, I'm told, within the next 35 to 40 minutes. So we can get home after the meeting. So.
Well, my wife said to tell Marty that the next time he closes that road, he better be on time.
Well, the next time we close it will be for paving. So, get it paved. That section of the road anyway. Not the whole road, just this section of the road. So
Well,
right there.
I thought the whole road was
Well, we can change order that in. So that's going on. Up right above that is where regulator number 1 is located. The project included a cost to go in and clean that thing out and to remove the old rusted regulator. And the cleaning's been done and the regulator's been removed out. And right now, we're assessing whether we can salvage any of that or not. So we actually sent it to Morgantown. Is that
Quality machine.
quality
Of
machine?
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport, and we may try to clean it or turn it. We'll see what we can do there. And if we can't, we may just leave it out, because it wasn't doing anything for a long time. And the way this comes in, we have an 8-inch line coming into your regulator, a baffle there, and a 3x5 hole there that regulates that, and then sends it back. And this thing was a pulley system that floated, and probably hasn't worked in a good while. It's pretty well rusted. I don't think I sent you. I don't have your email, I think. But I've been sending progress
report.
daily reports, and I think yesterday or today it had a picture of pretty rusted. Shows you an idea what it
Well, I've
looks
seen
like.
them firsthand, and I really don't think they're solid.
So we'll have to, and that work to rework them was going to be done on an allowance basis. So we had money in there because no one could hardly predict what that was going to be. So it wasn't fair to the owner or to the contractor to have them bid that as an item, because no one would. So we have an allowance in there. So we're going to weigh whether we can do any rework or do something different there, or just leave that out. So in the meantime, regulator number 2 is probably at least as bad as that. It has not been removed yet. I've looked in regulator number 2. That's the one I could see in, and it's in poor condition also. I never actually got to see regulator number 1. And regulator number 5 is paved over, and we'll find out what that looks like when we mill that down and open it up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. In the meantime, immediately above regulator number 2 is what's called manhole number 6, and that we have found is filled with a lot of debris, so we're going to have to pay some extra money to have that cleaned out. So where's Pam? There you are.
Thank you.
Were you here last meeting, or I can't remember. I keep it.
Would you like me to move over there?
No, you're actually better there. So Pam, we'll probably have to go and somehow, we gotta make this happen pretty quick. I'm leaning toward trying to use some of this allowance and the regulators on that, but I've gotta watch that that's all done properly and documented properly. So that needs to be cleaned out. Once that's cleaned out, then we're probably gonna gut out regulator number 2. Is that correct, Marty?
Yep.
So, and at that point, more sewage that is than now is gonna be heading back toward our Water Street pump stations. That'll open that up and allow more sewage to come through, and which is not whole goal. Part of the whole goal of the project is to get that direction where it needs to go. That's all I need to say about that, I think. So, but we're working toward that. So that's the work completed to date. This next period, I would anticipate they'll continue from manhole 10C on Pearl Street and up behind the houses and go up to Hampshire Street and get close to tying that in by the next pay application and get that done. And then Marty, you did have a submittal from you for the grinder pump station, the small pump station for the 2 trailers. We should be getting that pretty soon and getting that set up. Probably need to get that electric set up so that works for us, and then we can get that done, get the gravity line in, and then we can decommission the existing pump station. So we won't have to pump anymore, so that location. That's pretty ambitious for this next pay period. Do you think we'll have the Muffin Monsters in the next pay period, or delivered, or?
They're all here.
Okay.
Even the internal components have come in recently.
Okay. The Muffin Monsters are here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, they're down at the Water Street
Okay.
site there.
Okay.
So that they will not be installed by the next.
No, I didn't know what the delivery time was.
Yeah.
I couldn't recall.
I think the only thing we're really waiting on is the E1 unit.
Okay.
That should be
The grinders.
the only thing that we're waiting on.
There's 2 of them, right?
Just one.
Just
One's gonna serve both trailers.
Okay.
It's more than a big house. It's a small unit, very small, so very small electric load and then have a big electric bill, but certainly nothing like we would have had for the existing Pearl Street pump station when it operated. So there's we're pushing a lot of sewage way up the hill. So this is 2 houses, 30 feet up the hill. So that's where we're at with that. I've not been made aware. I look at the reports every day before I send them to you. I talk to Cody at least every other day, usually every day, and I'm not aware of any concerns or questions from anyone in the project yet. If we have any of those, let me know, we'll get them addressed. So if we have any, I'm not trying to cause questions or concerns, I just want to make it open that if we have something we need to address, we can do that. Change orders to date, we did get it's not really a change order, but we had a line item for your sewage jetter, and that $23,810.73, that's been ordered onto IJDC, and have you ordered that?
I have not.
Okay, so you can go ahead and order that, it's ready to go.
We
So,
should be getting the money within the next week or so.
Yeah, right,
Because it was approved, it was approved as a line item.
okay, it's approved as a line item. And then the sewer line reroute around the house at 113 Fairview Street, West Fairview Street, I guess. West. Yeah, we are working with, Pam is working with IJDC to get that. The line item wasn't enough that was budgeted wasn't enough to cover that. But we'll see if we can move the extra money we have more in for sewage jetter. And so move some of that money over and some other things, and she'll make her magic happen, and we should
I
have.
was gonna use the sewage, the jetter was like 21,000 that we had left over, 21,000. 12,000 in easements and lands, because we had 15,000, we only needed 3,000. And then we have like 1,000, right, little some odd dollars in other admin, which was for ads and, you know, advertisements and stuff. But we need like $703 of that, which that would cover it. I wanted to go ahead and move that around and get that approved, but Tim wouldn't do it at this stage of the game. He said he would rather wait later on.
Wait to see what else we
In
come
case.
across in our system.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna
If Green River
push it.
comes across something big that a blow up, you know. Sorry, baby.
So,
I waited 15 years.
okay. So, so that's,
But it does, it's,
That's-
you know, he didn't have anything against it, he, you know,
so
it's
as, probably once we get up to,
precautionary.
right now we're at 17%, when we get up to maybe 60 to 75%, he'll feel more comfortable in turning that loose, so. Contract administration, anything you need to, other than that?
No,
Yeah.
has your office sent in any payrolls?
I'll check with Christie to see if she has.
Christie's her
Yeah,
name?
Christie Kane.
Cause I was trying to check on my email, and I don't see her name
Okay,
on there.
I'll check.
If she can send it to me, Are you gonna have any
The
Electrician?
our electrician will be a sub, that'll be it.
what's that? That's the next-
Infinity Electric.
Okay, Infinity, okay, I think.
So with that in mind, that's all I have to report as part of the progress meeting, and for the next meeting, we'll bring the actual invoices that we normally would have done at this meeting for the next meeting, so.
So am I hearing all this right, that from Pearl Street right now, we're in good shape other than a little dressing up here to the plant? Was that the issue at,
We haven't gutted regulator number 2 yet, so that's still
That's right.
restricting the flow a little bit. So once we do that and clean manhole number 6, which, manhole number 6 wasn't in the contract, it's extra work, so we'll get that cleaned out. We describe it having, hopefully no dead bodies or anything, some big logs. That's my fear, is opening that up, and find Jimmy Hoffa's body.
but those two issues are
Once we get
resolved?
that open, we should have it straight, we should have a flow to the main plant, to the Water Street pump station. So, and then we can open up the monsters and do that other work, so. Right.
And that's to access, to clean out the manhole. It's gonna require a back truck or something down in there.
To clean it out, we're gonna see if we can somehow run a line from Hampshire Street and run it down through the woods and access it. Yeah. It's a very remote location. You and I have, I think, walked to it.
Oh, yeah, I know where it's at and all, I just wondered that.
You can barely walk to it.
Yeah, but where they're at right now,
Yeah.
coming down to there, the way the road that they already made down there takes a lot of footage off of that. And then maybe a back truck, I mean, that's, but however, but anyhow, that and the regulator, and
We've got free flowing sewage to the Water Street pump station. And then we'll deal with it from there to the muffin box for highway.
Sounds good.
So that's all I had to report on the sewage. When I was with you a couple of weeks ago, I brought documents and tried to do Pam's job, and I didn't do a good job. A few items didn't get signed that were supposed to be signed, so she'll bring to those to you at the 6 o'clock
He already
meeting.
took care of it.
We took care of
All
that.
right.
We're way ahead.
I'm always behind.
No, do they have an agenda?
I'm not administrative. Okay. All right, that's all I had.
Okay.
I'll sit over here.
Anything you gotta add, Marty?
Yeah, he had a question on the application. You just make sure that Steve gets it, Steve has to review it and sign off on it, and then he gets it to me.
Yeah.
And then you get it through the system. and do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. The way it works, you give me you usually email me a copy in advance, and I say it looks good or whatever. We get it, and then you send me 6 copies in the mail, I sign those, I attach our invoices, and then our accountant, John, packages them together with the requisition and sends them to Pam. So that all takes a few days to pull that together. That's why we just ran out of time for this particular meeting, both of our vacations, so.
Yeah.
And then I do like cover letters and all the good stuff, and
And Pam's gonna prepare a requisition form and all kinds of
I'll
things.
tell Christie you said money's on the way. It's in the mail
all that 30,000.
for the first pay application.
Now, did your first pay application, it was like 19,000? Wasn't it?
I don't remember. We just wanna make sure it don't get lost in the system somewhere. Sometime. But it's only been about 30 days, so
It should be pretty simple.
about 30 to 45 days. Just wanna make sure it don't get lost.
Wait, let me do some checking here.
That's it. I don't have anything, Ben.
I think you're 1556.
All right, let's say our normal prayer and salute and get ready for our annual meeting. Since Miss Grace is not here, anyone wanna say it or? Lord, we thank you for another day here. Lots of things have been going on. Hope you bless everybody around the city. Look after the Butler family. We know that you sometimes say that you only give us what we can stand. Sometimes it looks like you're passing a little too much. But look after Candy. See that she has a healthy recovery and as speedy as it can be and as less painful. Look after all of us here in this room. Look after all the citizens of Piedmont. Look after all of our armed forces. And look after the laborers in the sewage project as they move forward with their jobs. And also look after our people as they move on with their jobs. In the name of God, we thank you. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. We are now. I gotta get a drink of water.
Is there a sign-up sheet for public input?
Yeah.
Did I cover it up?
I actually have you on the agenda this
Do you?
morning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Who we got on the citizens list other than Reverend John?
He actually, I have him under new business. Everybody else on there?
I don't know.
I don't even see it. I think the money in the back. No, he's the only one on there more, he's under new business. Okay.
He's the only one signed up.
I actually put him on there before I put him on the agenda, so. Then we'll-
117.
in case we
He
have to
doesn't
wait.
want to.
No, we might have to wait on something to talk about, something on the agenda.
Okay,
Because I just got the,
minutes from the last meeting.
um.
Has everyone read the minutes from the last meeting?
Oh, you're fine.
Looking for approvals and corrections?
I'd like to make a correction to what I said last time about the audit. The audit is complete. The total cost is $6,800 for 2015 and $6,800 for 2016. The bill for $544 was from the West Virginia State Auditor's Office. They did send us an invoice for the total price, but they didn't put a due date on it. So that's the only correction I make. 544 is to the state auditor's office for processing. And it's 6,800 for 2015 and 6,800 for 2016.
Okay, we're gonna have to have a motion to change that.
I make a motion to change my officer's report on the audit. The audit is complete, the cost is $6,800 per year, and the charge of $544 is to the West Virginia State Auditor's Office.
Okay, do I hear a second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. The corrections to the minutes will be added as. Okay, correspondence. The only thing I know of in correspondence is this other thing, and it's clear out in pipe stem for the West Virginia Educational Conference on Litter Control and Solid Waste. Since we're not doing anything as far as garbage and stuff like that anymore, I don't feel that this is really a concern to us. Officers report. Start with you there, Paula.
Everything's going good for the pool. We had the health department out today. And he just picked out like a couple things that need fixed around the baby pool, like more of the mortar put around.
Where we actually looked at before,
Yeah.
but it never got done.
Nothing to complain about. He went around, he thought we was doing a good job, keep up the good work. It needed backwash, so Joey, whenever backwashed it, because the pressure was too high. Other than that, everything's going fine. Made another almost $2,000 deposit. Just to Joey made it today for $1,945. I have my money for my pool party. The pool's booked all week this week. They're having swimming lessons 3 weeks in the next month.
And does this help pay for the employees over there, or is it just? Okay.
Anything. And I also talked to the lady from the BYO Recreation about the playground equipment.
Yeah.
She was wanting, I put it on the agenda, which she didn't get back to me with the price of what it would cost for them to install it. And I don't think it's feasible to put the old equipment up in the old lot because of liability. I was up looking at it with those steps in the wall and the woods in the back. I don't think we should go ahead and do that. I think we can just expand on the playground we have downtown.
Yeah, and I looked at that too, and I think you're exactly right. It would cost us a lot of money to fix it and repair those steps.
And even if we don't go and get all the equipment that we were priced for, I would definitely like to get the handicap swing. So I think it would all fit back there. The area's large enough, but she told me that she would get back with me for the price to install that, but I think we definitely should go forward with the handicap swing sets since we've been given the money just for the playgrounds, we have to use it, so. She's gonna get me a price. I was hoping she would have it before I came here, but she hadn't emailed me yet.
So are you asking for approval to go with the handicap swing set?
Like I said, I have it on the agenda if you wanna wait till we get down on it. That's why I had her put Parks and Rec. It's under unfinished business, Parks and Rec. So we would be able to vote for it, so when we get down there.
All right, we'll wait until we get there.
Okay.
See?
Sent out those letters. Some of the folks have responded and cut their grass and cleaned up. I haven't got any of the cards back except for one, so, you know, the one that didn't respond and didn't take action, we have to wait to get their cards back before we can start finding them. A couple weeks ago, a big concrete section fell off of a building. We sent letters to those folks asking them to make sure, get an engineer, make sure it's structurally sound. But we haven't got their card back either yet, so that's all I have.
Okay.
I don't have a whole lot, Ben. I've been pretty busy, other than I know they've been working on the fire hydrants, and then they've got some concrete poured around town, so they're weeding them, but, as far as that, like I said, I've been pretty wrapped up. I don't know if T.I. wants to add anything to that or not.
Just so we got Home Fest coming up, and all volunteers is welcome to, we got canopies to be setting up starting tomorrow, and everything. We're gonna try to get the streets cleaned a little bit more, probably come sometime tomorrow or Friday morning.
And you finished up,
All the hydrants have been tested, they've all been checked out, all 53 of them. The last 3 days we've been working on them.
okay, and the place that we had, in the last couple of weeks, the places that we had tore up for water leaks that required cement work,
Sidewalk repair.
okay. Well,
Nothing to forget.
okay, we'll, expect a little more out of you next meeting.
You'll get her.
Okay, I have a statement of accounts, and I put a copy in each of your folders. The 941 account is $15,096.16.
Wait a minute,
Okay, it should be in the very back of your folder, the back page probably.
this little thing,
Yep, that little thing. Yeah, that's how much money we have, that little thing.
I think it's a Western.
The 941 account, $15,096.16. City account, $1,055.99. The fire company grant, $2,304.42. The general fund, $13,427.84. Parks and Rec, $13,846.33. Phase 2 water, $4,539.38. And the pool, $5,920.11. And I've also included for everybody a copy of the auditor's reports for 2015 and 2016. And we will be having firmer control over our finances.
And we have been putting some of that stuff in place. Ms. Phil's been doing a great job trying to get things in order so we understand exactly what we're doing a little bit better than we did. And we're moving forward in that direction. But then we did another bombshell thing. Are you done with your report?
Well, Phil, is this Carrie that's been helping you?
Yes.
Why do we have a copy of her application? Is she applying for a position here? I mean, permanent position here?
Right now, I guess the word was emergency,
Yes.
and plus it would be an asset because she's helping me, so we get like 2 in 1,
Okay.
and she's very qualified,
Yes.
so,
She is.
Well, this is kind of a bad situation that when we get down here under new business, I'll clarify that, or under unfinished business, I'll clarify that a little bit. Let's move on with these reports.
Okay.
And, Robbie, Robbie made it?
Yeah, but
Oh, there you are.
I passed you on 68, you see me way back there? Just
Oh,
about
early
Bunker
this
Hill, yeah,
I seen you, I thought that was you.
yeah. Not a whole lot, when I say everything's just going normal. Just so you know, the issues I've had come up, you know, I've had some of the, with the juvenile stuff, the prosecutor hasn't gotten back with me yet. Some of the complaints I had on juveniles, 3 stolen firearms, and some other issues, so all that stuff's entered in the NCIC, so if they turn up, we'll know where they're at and who got them. But, some of the issues just wanna make you aware of, if you get questioned out there while you're out, okay? Any of the streets in the city of Piedmont can be parked at by anybody, all right? There's been some issues come up, and people, like, you know, if I lived in Kaiser for most of my life when I was younger and stuff growing up, and I showed my mom and dad's parking spot out on West Piedmont Street of all places, with a beauty shop right around the corner. And half the time when my mom was crippled up with arthritis, stuff couldn't hardly walk, she would come home from work and park her car. Someone took the parking spot. Even though I shoveled all the snow and had it cleaned up and everything, I couldn't reserve it. It would belong to the public, you know, and we've had those issues. I cannot make anyone move, all right? And if someone parks in front of someone's house, I can't make them move. You know what I mean? Anyone can park there. The issue comes out about, okay, and I'm not naming names or anything like that, but like just an example. If you look up here at the white Explorer Expedition sitting on the corner of East Fairview, it's not only on line. The tag appears to be dead because it starts with an N for November and it has a 2016 sticker. I ran that tag. It's good till November 2017. He just hasn't put his sticker on it. Same thing with the old white van out there sitting in front of Ronnie Jackson. It shows it's dead April the 1st of 2017, but it's good till next year, 2018. Okay, that vehicle's sitting there. I have calls about, you know, family coming in or whatever, and for the holidays, can you move, get this van who's got dead tags? I'm sorry, it doesn't have dead tags. You know, so issues like that. But if you see a dead tag, okay, I check the vehicles around town. If they're dead, and they are dead, I give them a courtesy of 72 hours to get it removed, or it gets towed. And I give them that courtesy of 72 hours, which I wouldn't have to, okay? I could tow it right then because it's a dead sticker on city street. That's the way you can do it. I just want you to be aware. They're the city streets. The only place there's anything it could be is a handicap zone, and that would be for a handicapped person. That's the only restriction you could have. So if you're asking about it, I'm checking the ones that don't have a tag, or, well, most of them already got moved, but towed. But the ones with dead stickers, the vans going, you know, I've been chipping them off little by little. People have been notified. And I give them a courtesy of 72 hours. But everything right now, the people who needed to move anything or get anything for them, everything's cleared up. They're all legal, valid, and allowed to park wherever they are. I can't make somebody move a vehicle. Unless it's illegally parked like 3 feet off the curb or something, then I can ask them to place or something. So if any of that comes up, everything's under control and there's no further issues with it. And if you have any questions, they can direct them to me and I'll let them know what I've got. Okay, that's about all I have. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now we're under the unfinished business. Home Fest, I guess I moved down here but to new business, but I'll get there. Should have done it under correspondence.
Yeah, everything's coming together pretty good. We're gonna start putting the no parking flyers out. When you do that on Friday morning, Tiana?
Whatever.
It will happen. It's gonna be a little different this year, and we'll just see how it goes.
Why?
Huh?
Why is it gonna be different?
Well, it's always been in the past, like in the morning up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. This year, because now we have the fireworks, this fishing rodeo is gonna start in the morning, but then there's gonna be at 4 o'clock
Thank you.
up to the fireworks.
Sorry, excuse me.
I mean, it might,
I feel a little cooler than
yeah,
local
there's
years.
more people out. Western Port's not doing anything, so we're gonna have a lot of people up here, I think.
Hey, then on your thing, the bus pool thing, Cliff did ask me, he's supposed to be up here and riding, because he's gonna go in the parade first and all too, right?
Yeah,
And so he said he just needs to be up here by 5:30.
yeah, because he'll be up towards the front of the parade.
Okay. All right, he asked me to make sure for him.
Yeah. Just hang out clean.
Have me bus off clean now.
The vendors that want their electric, when do they have to pay their $15?
I can collect it the morning of and write them a receipt, and then I'll give it to Phil Monday morning, and then she can do the actual receipt if that's okay.
That's fine.
I think there's only like 2 or 3, not very many.
Okay.
Now, should we put these signs up 24 hours prior? Would that be on Thursday?
We don't have, our manpower's taken up for tomorrow for, canopies and tables and chairs.
Okay.
We got a 4-day job there.
Okay.
Signs
Let me know where that
signs
is
will
done,
go
I
up
can do whatever.
Friday morning, we'll put something.
Okay. All right, I can do whatever.
Well, Robbie said he would volunteer to put them out if you want. That shouldn't be a big job, should it?
I'll get you a list with the time,
Send me
because
somewhere,
like,
I'll take care of whatever
for
I
the
can.
parade, it's a certain time, for
Are
the
the
truck
signs
pull,
ready? I'll
No,
come down tomorrow.
not yet.
Okay, well, we'll get the signs ready, I'll do it tomorrow.
Well, what should, do you write up a sign or what?
Yeah, no parking.
There
Just
should
no
be a
parking in
standard
the
sign.
hours
Because
and
there's not gonna be any parking on Second Street and Asheville Street for the parade Friday night. And then for the truck pull, there won't be any parking from here down to
Jones Street.
Jones Street.
Right.
And then Saturday, no parking Second Street, Green Street, or the lot behind the Legion.
We'll have to get them.
Got all that, Chief?
Somebody that knows how to.
Yeah, I'll have it right down for you, make sure I forget. What about the people, what about down here in the vehicles that have plumbs and stuff, do they move them or? they
They're
just-
not really in the way, not for, well, for the, no, they won't be, because we can line the cars up for the parade in the street there. And then for the truck, the bus pool, it
It
won't.
won't go that far.
Well, actually, if you talk to him, he could probably pull them around back and park half of his order.
Yeah, but every time he moves one of them, they get trashed. Poor old Jeff Zyler's car, he was trying, almost had it on the road and they busted, someone took across there, when they were over here redoing the line, when the truck, equipment was going up the tracks. Someone took him right there in the back parking lot of the church. I saw it one Sunday morning, my wife said, look, someone busted all the windows out of that car. And that little Aztec, whatever he had, almost ready to go on the road. They busted every window but one out of it. It's like 9 windows he's got to replace. I'd be afraid to move anywhere off the street.
Well, that's a shame that you can't park your vehicle with that, so you're busting it up. All right, let's move on to Parks and Recs there. Paul.
Well, like I said, I had a total quote, updated quote for all the equipment for $12,000, but since we can't move the other stuff up and use that area, I would like to just go ahead and get the handicap swing set. It's 2 bays, one will hold a wheelchair, and one has a great big seat with a, like a seat belt, so the handicapped children come down and get on the playground, and it's $2,846. So I would like to go ahead and at least get that put in the park to show that we are using the money that was given to us, bequeathed to us by the family.
Well, not only showing them that the money's being used, it's gonna help, you know, we have a couple of
Yeah.
handicapped kids in town here that, you know, they don't get much enjoyment on equipment like
And
this.
like I said, the one, even adult, it showed, the picture shows an adult on it. You put the whole wheelchair on the one and it swings. And the other one is a seat with like a seat belt that you could put a child in. So that would be a nice setup to have back there.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the purchase of a handicap swing in the amount of $2,846.
I second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Anyone opposed or discussion? Okay, motion carried. Oh, you get access to the,
Yeah, well, she should have my quote to even set it up. I asked for a quote to set it up also.
okay, before we take it, your Reverend John,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind, give me about 2 minutes and then.
I'm in no hurry, don't worry about it, you do what you gotta do.
Okay, like I said, when we were talking about emergency help, Michelle put her resignation in. I knew about this before this, but just to bring, well, yesterday. She's moving on to a better job at the paper mill, and I guess that's where she's going now. And like I told everyone before, anyone that can better theirself, I'm all for it. I know if I had to go get a better job, I would sure take the offer if I had the opportunity to move forward with something like that. So she is submitting this resignation, and she doesn't really have a date on this letter of resignation as to when, but she said she was leaving on the 18th. Is that right, Paul, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Is that on a Tuesday?
No. Getting back to
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
getting back to why this application is in your packet, is that through the municipal league and through our employee handbook, we can put a person on in an emergency situation before we actually hire someone. We do have to advertise these jobs, but we still have to keep the city running too. So, this is the lady that I would like to appoint, not hire, into this position until we put the applications through, do everything according to the way it's supposed to be done, and then we'll make a decision on who to hire or whatever. This is an emergency situation. If it was a situation where we just had to bring someone in, we would have to follow procedure such as going through the applications and advertisements, and we will do that. So we're not really hiring a person, we're bringing a person on to help out until, as you know, we have to advertise this for, what, a week? So this is gonna cover that week, and then the week following that we're not gonna have a person in here. So, under all the guidelines, we can do this. So I think we ought to take advantage of it.
I don't think you need anything else other than to appoint her.
Well, I really don't, but I would just like for everyone to know exactly what's going on. You know, I do have the authority to appoint a person, but I don't feel that that's my way of doing things. I think everyone ought to be on an agreeable basis. And I would like to more or less have you guys look over this and give me a motion to do what we gotta do.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the mayor's appointment of Carrie Lewis in our emergency situation.
Now, again, this is not being hired.
Appointment.
It's just someone to help us out until,
That's temporary until we
get applications and review.
And she understands this.
She understands.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll talk to Miss Carey again and see what we can do. She will be part-time, and she agreed to just part-time enough to help us out of this rut we're in. And
She's been doing a lot to help Phil get through it. QuickBooks and payrolls,
Everything. She's,
everything.
we've gone
That,
back.
actually,
Lot of
that's what
stuff
her
we have to
training
go
is
back
in.
on.
She's got it, she's a certified.
Yes, yeah.
well, you know, all these people that she's got down as employees are her clients now. And we're actually not gonna be her employee, we're gonna be a client. But we're gonna just pay her on an hourly basis, I guess. So it's not really, at this point, hiring.
Yeah.
But Phil, I'd like for you to put this on the wire as soon as you can about getting,
Part-time.
you know, we have an opening for part-time employment. And, if we don't do that, that doesn't make it an emergency.
Right. I
do we
understand.
wanna accept them up until like the 8th, and then we can review them on the 9th for next meeting?
Well, we need to go as fast as we can on
Yeah.
some.
And
Well,
make
if
sure
we get
that
in
they
the
all have,
paper.
make sure that it's noted that they all have resume in there.
Right. Application and resume.
As of what date?
This is the 12th, I would say. Did you say the 9th or the 19th?
The 9th. Because it'll hit the papers probably the first of next week, and you wanna give them time. The 26th might be pushing it a little bit.
Well, let's push it.
Okay. So by the 25th, have resumes in, and we'll review them on the 26th?
We only have to,
We
we have
did
to
advertise
advertise
a week
5
on
days,
these
is that right?
I thought it was 2. I thought that runs twice. I don't know.
Well, I can check that out when I call.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's move on that as quick as we can, so we can move on. Reverend John Martin,
Yes.
would you like to take the floor?
Oh, boy. I don't know how many of you know me. I'm John Martin. I'm the deacon at St. James Episcopal Church in Western Port. And a lot of our parishioners are residents of the city of Piedmont, so I don't feel out of place being here. And I'm an Allegheny County native. I was born in Cumberland, grew up in Laveo, went to Allegheny and played football and basketball, baseball, track. And my neighbor across the street, whether good or bad, is Roland Fisher, here from Piedmont. I also am very good friends with Skip Gates and his family. I was formerly a deacon at Emmanuel Episcopal in Cumberland, where all these people went. A little bit of my background, I was a teacher in Allegheny County at Allegheny and Valley High School. Football coach and basketball coach and a lot of different things. I worked for the Department of Juvenile Services in Maryland for 16 years at Backbone Mountain. And in 2008 I fell on the ice up there and really boogered myself up. And July 1st, 2010, they decided that, well, Mr. Martin, you can't do your job anymore, so we're going to retire you on accidental disability since it was on the job. So I was ordained, I fell Tuesday before Thanksgiving in 2008. I was ordained in 2009, June 6, 2009, and I was telling my wife, before I fell, I said, how in the world am I going to do all these things as a deacon when I got a full-time job? And then that answer was provided when they retired. They put me on disability and then retired me. Deacons are not compensated for the work that we do. They never have been by the church. We're not compensated. Garrett Karskaden, who's the priest over there, is not compensated either. We're unusual in the Diocese of Maryland. We're probably the only priest and deacon that are, not compensated at all. The only thing I get is mileage. If I drive from Cumberland to here, or if I have to go to Baltimore, I get mileage. It's not a whole lot. But I knew that going in. It's not like hey, guess what, you're not getting paid. No, I knew that. My reason for being here is all of you, I don't have to be I'm not going to be a rocket scientist or anything if I tell you that this problem is tri-towns wide, county wide, and into Garrett County too as well. All of Mineral County, we're very economically depressed. Okay, there's very few jobs around that pay a living wage. The mill's what, about 25% of what it used to be?
Right.
We lost our big smokestack industries. We have prisons in Allegheny County that are probably the largest employers in the area. But that's not a productive job. Okay, it doesn't produce a product. And as a result, we've got a lot of people who are out of work, they're out of their homes, they're on the streets. We've got a lot of people who are into drugs, some of them because of surgeries that they had and they were overprescribed opiates to deal with pain. And what I'm thinking of, I've had an idea that if I could find a property, either here in Westernport, a property that's blighted, you know, in pretty bad shape. Hopefully it has a decent roof. I can deal with, I was a contractor, so a lot of the work I can do myself. And I have a lot of friends that will come and help too. And I could also teach young people who are on community service. If they had community service to do, either in Maryland or West Virginia, I could teach them construction. That's what I did. I you know, was a home contractor and so on. And, I taught carpentry and woodworking for 16 years with the state of Maryland. But if I could find a building that I could rehab and turn that building into a place of emergency shelter. A while back there was a young woman walking along past the mill on a rainy night, rainy cold night, and stopped, rolled down the window, and I said, "Do you need a ride?" And she said, "Yeah, I could use a ride." When she got in my truck, I realized she was not only wet, but she was pregnant. She'd had a big fight with her boyfriend and he threw her out of the house, just threw her out with the clothes she had on her back. She had no place to go. The closest place for shelter is Cumberland. Okay. And she was scared to death, she was wet. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a place to give somebody like that shelter overnight? And she's not the only woman who's been abused by a boyfriend or husband, and children as well. And to give them short-term help for a place to sleep, okay? For people who are addicts, the only place to get treatments, well, in Mineral County, you probably have something in Kaiser. Burlington, okay. That's a pretty good drive. And for somebody who's homeless and doesn't have a car, in Allegheny County, Cumberland. From Westernport to Cumberland is 25 miles one way. And they could come over here and treat an Allegheny County resident who comes here for treatment. Not a problem. Mineral County could come here and treat, if they had a mobile treatment center. And I've been talking with our legislators about this in Maryland. And I'll talk to the people in Mineral County about setting up a treatment center. Bring a nurse, practitioner, and a counselor to talk to people so that they can get off the drugs. Some of these people, it's through no fault of their own. Some of them got into it because, hey, I want to get high. Okay. But they want to get off the drugs now. They'd be better productive citizens. They wouldn't be robbing our houses. They wouldn't be robbing our cars. A lot of different things come into this. And yeah, I know I've got this thing on. But I've done those kinds of things for people all my life before I ever had this. And somebody said, hey, you need to go through holy orders and be ordained so you can put that foot in the door and people can't slam the door on you. But I don't know if you have any properties that would fit that, but if you do, I'd love to take a look at them and potentially see what it would. I know I can estimate what it would cost to rehab a building. Bishop, Henderson, who took the building down on Ashfield Street. His church put $70,000 into that building to rehab it. And he's going to use it for the benefit of the community. It's going to help his church too, but they borrowed the money to rehab the building. And that's what I would like to do, either here or in Westernport, one or the other, wherever it comes up, and rehab a building and use it for those kind of purposes. I don't know if that's something that you all would think would be a good thing. I personally think it's a good thing. And, like I said, volunteers, we can make it a habitat type project where people come in and put in some time. I'm looking for grants right now to fund something like that. The Episcopal Church, I wouldn't have any problem getting it over here in Piedmont because we have parishioners that live here. The money can be used here from the Diocese of Maryland. Not a problem. I've already checked that. We have several churches that fund projects like this in Maryland, in the Diocese of Maryland, down around Annapolis. One church has a $10 million endowment for just such programs. They give the interest off that endowment every year away. That's a lot of money. Interest on $10 million is a lot of money. And if they could give us $5,000 or $10,000, it'd be great. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we need to do something in this area to help people get out of the hole. And when you help other people get out of the hole, you feel better about yourself too. And that's also an important thing. When you're helping somebody else, you get the idea and you understand that you're not as bad off as the next guy. And if we help each other, we're all going to benefit. And it's not, it's not being goody two-shoes or anything else. It says in Matthew 25, the parable of sheep and goats. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was naked, you gave me clothing. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was sick, you took care of me. When I was in prison, you visited me. And the king said, the sheep said, when did we do these things, Lord? And Jesus said, when you did the least of these things to my brothers and sisters, you did them unto me. And those are simple things that Christians can do. And the Muslims believe and the Jews believe in the same thing. They believe in helping the person that's down. And I don't know, not all Muslims are terrorists. Unfortunately, it only takes a couple extremists to make everybody look bad. Just like you have one or two bad police officers, that makes the whole force look bad. And most Muslims just want to live and be left alone and live in peace. And I've got some Muslim neighbors. You couldn't ask for better neighbors. But I also know there's extremists. There's extremist Christians, there's extremist Jews, there's extremists all over the world. But anyway, that's what I came here to say.
Do you have a card with your?
Yes, I do.
Are you on it?
Here, I
How
can do
big of a building are you looking for?
It doesn't have to be that big, but let's say 1,500 square feet. A 1,500 square foot building. It's not too awful big. That's the size of my house.
1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floors?
Be nice if it was 1 floor, but it wouldn't matter if it was 2 or 3. It really wouldn't. Doesn't make any difference. To use something for a shelter, a 2nd floor bedroom or a 3rd floor bedroom wouldn't be a bad thing. But it's got to have some space on the 1st floor that you could sit down and talk with people.
I've seen across from Bill's house.
Do we don't know that, do we?
No, but she said.
No, but she wants to get rid of it. She just wants to get rid of the property.
Who's that?
For Cass's old place.
That's what I was gonna tell you as soon as he walked out. She's looking for somebody to give it away to.
Yeah, because I thought about taking it, me and my family was.
Chris is up there on Harrison Street.
It's set up basically for like 3 apartments. I mean, it is, I mean.
It's a good size split. What is the
Oh,
address?
I'd take you up and show you.
Okay.
It's huge. I
Okay.
mean,
It's Hampshire Street.
It's Hampshire.
It's
Hampshire,
like
Hampshire.
91
Yeah,
Hampshire.
something like that.
Yeah,
That's the estimate.
West Hampshire.
Across, the one you were talking about.
The one I'm
Yeah,
crying
across,
about.
yeah,
Oh,
across
yeah,
from you.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice sized building. He had a store in the bottom part off the side.
Well,
and
then that would have a large room to
And he
use.
lived on this floor, and then there was his son, and then lived on the other floor. This
There you
building is
go.
probably 120 years old.
You're taking him up
Okay.
to point mine out.
I don't know if you're all aware of
And then we
it.
have one there on Fairview
Like
Street
you
also, or, yeah, Fairview Street,
All
we
the
got a couple
floors
there
are
on
all-
Fairview Street. Nice size ones.
When I walked in,
Yeah, 'cause he got like a son.
go down and get to look at that.
No,
money.
not belonging to the
Wow.
city, but I
We
imagine
don't
you
have
probably want
any
something out of it.
properties for the house or anything.
St. James is very active in the Tri-Towns Food Pantry. We do
a day every 6 weeks, and my wife and I contribute heavily to the, to the food pantry.
I got a question for you, brother.
Yes.
Now, if you do that and you bring people in like that, how do you maintain whether they're getting off the drugs or not?
They go into a treatment program.
Right.
Okay, a supervised treatment program. And they will have expectations in that program to meet. And when they fail to meet those goals in that program, then they're no longer in the program, therefore they're no longer in the house. It's very simple.
Gotcha. I was just wondering how
I'm not going to have just anybody off the street in the house. They're going to be in a treatment program to get off drugs. If they're not in a treatment program, they're not going to be there.
There was a house down in Kaiser.
Yeah. I ran a hospitality house in Cumberland for 12 years.
We did a benefit
that catered
for it.
to women and children who came into Cumberland to visit the federal prison. Not the state prison, the federal prison. They traveled from all over the country to visit their loved one who was incarcerated. And that person was, some of them were white-collar criminals, they were embezzlers and so on, like that. They weren't violent offenders, but a woman would come from Texas with her 3 kids. And she would sleep on the streets in Cumberland because she didn't have the money to feed her children and stay in a hotel. She could feed her children, but she couldn't stay in a hotel. And our members of our parish who were police officers, state police, city police, and sheriff's deputies said, "Are you aware of women sleeping on the street that are visiting the federal prison because they have no place to stay?" So Emmanuel Episcopal decided, in Cumberland, decided we'd buy a house and we would make it available to these people for a weekend. And some people who came from like I had people who came from Washington State and California, we would allow them to stay for 2 weekends. They'd come in on a Friday night, visit that weekend, stay the following week and visit that weekend, and then leave and go home. And it worked well for 12 years. And then I was transferred out of that church down here by the bishop can move a deacon every 3 years. And that was at the end of that 3-year period. They had a new priest, and the bishop decided that I was needed down here to help Garrett Karstad, who has 2 parishes. He has one here in Westernport, and he has St. Peter's in Lonaconie. And he needed some help, so I was sent down here. But yeah, that question, if they're not in the program, they're not going to be in the house, because that space should be used by somebody who's trying to get off drugs, not by somebody who's procrastinating and just trying to use the system. Right. That's real easy. And I'm glad you asked that question, because that's the way I feel. I'm going to help somebody as much as I can if they're helping themselves. You can't help a drug addict or an alcoholic unless they're ready to help themselves. Okay. I've got a daughter who's a recovering heroin addict, and she's been off the heroin for about 8 years. She's in San Francisco, where she was born. I lived out there for 12 years. But she was an accountant with a 6-figure income, and she got into cocaine. And she couldn't afford the cocaine, so she started using heroin. She lost 5 jobs in 2 years.
Wow.
So, I know what it is to have a family member that's exposed to drugs. And you can't help them until they're ready to help themselves. But if they don't have a place to stay, how do you expect somebody to get off drugs if they're sleeping on the street? Because they have to associate with the very people
that put them on it.
That put them on it in the first place, and they're surrounded by these people, and they have no safety. I got 2 young ladies, 30 and 34, in Cumberland, where I live. But I got into a treatment program at the hospital, and I provide them transportation, and they can sit down and talk with me all they want. But without the transportation, they couldn't make their meetings at the health department to stay in their program, because the bus system is crappy. Allegheny County doesn't have a bus system as far as I'm concerned. 1 bus a week to Westernport, that's it.
What do? You normally have like someone like the one you had down there, you have like a volunteer, someone that stays there for like the...
Operate the house, yeah, we have volunteers that would be there. If there was a recovering addict there, somebody would be there 24/7 to make sure that everything in the house was safe. And before I started this program, I would enlist volunteers, and that could be anybody. It could be people sitting in this room right now that thought that was a good thing to do. Then we get you set up. And, volunteer, something you can do to give back. I was a volunteer EMT for almost 15 years, my wife for 17. And because you know what, without volunteers, houses burn down and people die. And that's where I come from. And, you know, people say, well, you can do that, you got all the time. Well, one time I didn't. I had to work a full-time job, and I did the EMT and this kind of work on the side. You know, but that's me. That's just the way I was raised. But,
It don't seem like people want to volunteer like they used to anymore, though. You know,
LaVale is going to be taken over by the county pretty soon. LaVale Rescue Squad. One of the oldest rescue squads in the area. My wife was in the first EMT class in LaVale in 1973 or two or three, along with Ken and Betty. With Betty May. I don't know if you know the May family. You know Diane. Diane. Okay. Well, her husband's mother and father really were instrumental in starting LaVale Rescue Squad. And Ken May still, and he's 89 years old. Betty May's passed on. But if we don't have volunteers to help, a lot of people are going to fall through the cracks. And a lot of people, every life matters. I carry Narcan with me. You know what Narcan is? I took the training to administer Narcan. I've seen, well, as an EMT, I saw a lot of people die, but I saw 4 people die in Cumberland of overdose. I couldn't help them. I didn't have anything to help them. I took the training because I see it. I'm going to take the training, and I carry it. It's in my truck.
Right up there,
You know, I carry it because, and boy, when you give that stuff,
watch
when
out.
they wake up, you better
Stay
watch
back.
out because they're in immediate withdrawal. As soon as they wake up, they're immediate and full withdrawal, and they're going to punch you, whatever.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
you better be ready for it.
It's like a bull ride.
Yeah, it is.
That's about right.
But, you know, we've got to do something about, well, the Sheriff's Department, you probably read that in the paper, they started a crackdown in the creek from Lonaconing on down.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue that. Sheriff Craig is a very good friend of mine. In fact, he's got 2 movies I need to get back from him. He's got God Is Not Dead 1 and 2. And he said, well, I've already watched the first one. And I said, well, you need to watch the second one so I can have those back and give them to somebody else. They're very good movies. But Craig is really a good sheriff. And Jake Grove is a good one too before that.
Yeah, I've been working with them a little bit every year. So.
They're really good people. But they're trying to do something about the drug problem. And Maryland's governor has just released about $50 million over the next 5 years to work on the opioid problem with treatment, housing, you know, to get people off the street so they can recover. And that's $10 million a year for 5 years. That's a lot of money.
yes, it is. It's more than our state's given anyone.
Yeah, but I say, it's that bad in Maryland. It is really that bad. They've had 100 and some overdoses, and I forget how many deaths already this year in Maryland. And when you're an EMT and you pull up on the scene, and there's this person, you know.
Well, when you're border cities with interstate, one state's problems is the other. And, you know, whether it be Maryland having the addict or West Virginia having that addict, it can filter from Western Port to Piedmont, Piedmont to Western Port.
Yeah,
And,
like in Cumberland, it's the same thing.
right,
People walk from Ridgely to Cumberland and back, and they're addicts and alcoholics, and they can have their overdose in Cumberland and be dead. They can walk over to Ridgely and have their overdose there and be dead.
right.
You know, it doesn't matter.
So it is, you know, it's basically an interstate problem. It isn't just Maryland having a problem or West Virginia having a problem. It's nationwide, really.
It is a nationwide problem too, and it's getting worse because the opioids are cheap. They're cheap. They're very cheap. When you got to go to the drugstore and buy OxyContin and oxycodone, that stuff is expensive. You can buy heroin probably for 1/10 the cost on the street. I imagine it's probably about 1/10. I'm probably not very far off. But, and you never know what's in that stuff. That's what's killing people is they're using an animal tranquilizer to cut the heroin. And that's what's causing the problem. And it's like 10 times more powerful than the heroin. And it only takes an amount half the size of your little fingernail to kill you. That's it. Less than half the size of your fingernail mixed with the heroin,
Fentanyl.
you're gone.
Fentanyl and carfentanil all being.
Carfentanil is the one. Carfentanil now is the one.
Yep.
It's very cheap.
And they think, well, last month, and I've explained to some people, and they ended up passing away by overdoses, and I've explained to them, you're not dealing with pharmacists. They're not trained, and they're trying to make as much money as they can. So this time they cut it weaker, and you think, well, that wasn't enough, give me 2 capsules. So you get 2 the next time, you're going.
And Narcan's not the answer, because Narcan is only effective a few times for the same person. After a couple of uses, Narcan has no effect.
It wears off.
And when you take it and that person lays there and doesn't respond, you use a second one. That's what we have is 2 doses. I don't know if you have 2 doses or
I
more.
have 2 in 1, yeah, I got 4 altogether.
My wife has 2.
Now down in
I have 2
Cable
and my
County,
wife has
down
2.
in Cable County, since they started using the Narcan and stuff, some of the addicts now are.
They get trained and they get it supplied. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's in Cumberland.
And they're saying now that the people are getting to the point where they're like, well, they'll come get me, so I'm not going to have to worry about it. They'll come help me.
Yeah.
They'll save me.
And you got 30 to 90 minutes after you administer Narcan to get them to the hospital, or they'll go right back into it. What it does is the Narcan goes to the brain, and it knocks all the opioids off the receptors in the brain that control breathing, your heartbeat, you know, the involuntary reflexes. The Narcan knocks all that off the receptors in the brain and replaces it with the Narcan. So as soon as you give the Narcan, they're breathing again. Their heart's beating again. But in 30 to 90 minutes, that wears off, just like, you know, you take an aspirin for a headache and it wears off after a couple of hours. Well, after 30 to 90 minutes, it wears off, boom, you're right back into it. But if you get into the hospital, they can get the treatment to, you know, continue that coming out of the drug overdose. But I think we gotta do something, and it's, you know, something I've been thinking about for some time, and Garrett's been thinking about it too. And I just think strong enough about it that I'm gonna look for the money. I'm gonna find the money, I'm gonna find some people, and we'll make this thing happen. And I don't care where the person's from. You know, if they're from Piedmont or they're from Westernport, we take care of them. You're not going to turn somebody, boy, you live in the wrong state. No. We'll find a way to take care of it. You know, get them into a program. You know, if you get them over to Burlington, fine. You get them into Cumberland and they're Maryland resident, fine. You know, that's the only thing we can't cross, you know, the health department can't cross over and do West Virginia people, and I'm sure Burlington can't come over to Maryland and do Maryland people. But we can be in a location close to both, and we can get people either way. And there's no problem. I've already asked those questions. There's no problem with that. And I'm just tired of seeing people die and hearing about people die. And when I heard that people on drugs have Narcan on them, I'm thinking, holy cow, this is really bad. But it's that bad that they're carrying the Narcan themselves to bring, you know, so that somebody will use it to bring them out. That's really sad. But addiction is a disease. It's a chronic disease. Brain plays tricks on you when you're diseased like that. Nothing you can do about it. It rewires your whole brain. That's why that kid went down to Mexico. His parents took him down to Mexico and gave him one treatment with the drug down there. He was immediately drug-free, and it rewired his brain back to where it should be, and he doesn't use it anymore. So that's a good thing.
Well, I know I shouldn't feel this way, but I do. And I guess I gotta say it.
Go ahead.
People that get on drugs with the educational programs that's out there telling them not to do it, and they still do it, I'm not real sympathetic to it. I'm sorry, but
that's a normal response. It really is. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I would, you know, I'd like to help people that don't know any better or can't do any better.
Or people that were operated on and were prescribed prescription
Exactly.
drugs. And a lot of people who get on the drugs think it's a one-time thing, and they don't have to be an addict, but they want to get high once. Well, boom, you take some of these powerful drugs, one time's all it takes.
Exactly, that's the point I'm making, you know, but the actual addicts that got on it from their own free will.
Yeah.
I'm not real sympathetic about it, I'm sorry about that, but I
Yeah.
am just,
But should we make them pay a lifetime penalty though?
well, no.
Yeah. That's where I'm coming from. I agree with you. It's not something that I'm not gonna say, well, that's okay. You know, you did that, but that's okay. We're gonna help you. And actually, that's the attitude I'm gonna have, but, you know, I think they've gotta wanna do it. See, you can't help them unless they wanna do it themselves.
Right.
If they're not willing to do the work, then you've gotta let them go and get hold of somebody who wants to get off. I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time on somebody who says, well, I want the treatment program and everything else, and they get in the treatment program and then they sell their Suboxone out on the street corner. No, because they're gonna have a weekly blood test that's gonna take that level of Suboxone in their blood, and if it ain't there, guess what? You're selling on the street, you're out of here. I don't have much tolerance for that myself. I'm willing to help somebody that will help themselves. And, you know, you can ask anybody that knows me, I'm a very compassionate person. But you're gonna fool me once, you're not gonna fool me a second time. You know, that's just the way it is. But I'd appreciate any help with finding a place, and then I wanna identify money and see where we go. It won't cost you all anything, you know, unless somebody wants to volunteer and help. But, you know, I'll take care of finding the money and the resources to get it done, and see where it goes. Maybe it won't go anywhere. You know, maybe it won't happen. Maybe it will. I don't know at this point. It's just an idea, and I figured the best thing to do is I went to Westernport's meeting on Monday, and I'm here tonight.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Everybody told me I couldn't buy a house in Cumberland and open up a bed and breakfast for the families of prisoners in federal prison. I said, no way you can do that. You'll never find the money. You'll never find people to help you. Well, I found a house. I bought it. I paid the mortgage for 12 years myself on the house. The church owned the house, but I paid the mortgage. I found a dozen volunteers to help me. And we took care of as many as 16 people a weekend. Through no fault of their own, their husband, you know, stole money from the company he was working for. He ended up in prison. Family comes from way out of state, and to see him. And kids didn't get to see they don't get to see their father. You know, how angry do you think a kid's going to be if his father's in prison and never gets to see him? You hear that on TV all the time. Kids are angry. You give them the opportunity to see their father, it makes him a better prisoner, and it makes the kid not so angry. Michael Douglas' son is out there at Cumberland's federal prison. Drug user. He's a drug addict.
Someone else said something about that too.
Yeah, he's a drug addict. And Michael Douglas has come into town numerous times to visit. The guys that work the prison out there all know me. Some of them I taught in high school and stuff. Well, the head of the psychological program at the federal prison was one of my students in 1972 at Allegheny. Frank Hirschberger. Now he's the head of the psychiatric program out there at the federal prison. He's a full commander in the Navy. He's got a couple more years to go, and if he makes the rank of captain, he'll have a nice retirement. But anyway, it's just something that I came up with a thought and thought maybe it's something I can do, because everything's been thrown in my face. One young lady, the last one I helped, she had a procedure done. She was a heroin user, and she got an infection in her site. Okay, so they did a fasciotomy. They cut open here and cut open here. Lay it open and stitch the skin down, get rid of the infection, and then they allow it to heal from the inside out. She had slept in the woods for several nights after the surgery, and the wound got infected, and it was green. It was a girl over in Kaiser had the same kind of thing. But it was green, and she was in the beginning stages of gangrene. And one of the workers at McDonald's there on Queen City Drive brought her over and said, John, you got to take a look at this. Because he also knew I was doing EMT. I took one look at it, and I walked over to the corner. I said, keep her here. And I walked over to the corner, called my wife, and told her I was going to the emergency room. I'd be home as soon as I could. Took her out to the emergency room, and they worked on her for 3 hours. She has the arm today, it's healed, and she's in the Suboxone program. Hopefully she's successful. I don't know if she will be. She's been in it for 7 or 8 weeks. So hopefully she'll make it. But we don't know. But she wanted out. She was scared to death she was going to lose her arm. She came within a couple days of doing that. Anybody have any other questions? Again, a lot of our parishioners are residents here, and I know the area very well, and I'm getting to know it even more, and I'm getting to know it better because I'm over here now, and spend some time over here. I just had dinner at Ducky's. I had lunch at Ducky's too. So I'm off my diet.
It's way nice.
I had clams. I had clams for lunch, and I had a pizza for supper. So I'm off my diet. But yeah, we got good food over there, and there's good people here in Piedmont, and there's good people in Western Port. And it's a shame that in Cumberland is probably as bad or worse than it is here, as far as the economics go. They're down to 20,000 people, when in the 1960s they were between 50 and 60,000. That's quite a drop. So the whole area is being hit. They lost 3 plants, 3 major plants. But anyway, I thank you all for letting me come and talk, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. If somebody was going to show me that house on Hampshire Street, I'd like to see it.
He stepped right outside.
Oh, he's right outside?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Beverly. Appreciate you stopping in.
And if y'all ever get bored, there's a seat in the pew over at St. James. I work with Tom Forbes, who's the Presbyterian minister here in town. He's a new minister. He's been here for a while, but now he's actually the minister of the Presbyterian Church. And we were heckling him about the way he dressed all the time. Well, now he wears the clerical shirts like I've got on with the collar. He has an insert collar, but now he looks very Episcopalian. As a Presbyterian, that's scary. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on along here, we've got this
Where's that?
grant amendment number 2.
Yeah. Okay. I got my truck here.
This is the amendment to extend the contract period necessary to cover this small city block grant. Is Pam still here?
She left.
Yeah, she left.
I guess she gets this, doesn't she?
Probably, yeah. That's for the water project.
Yeah, it's for the water project. We're into final completion on this, and we need this amendment to be signed by me to more or less close out this block grant. And I've been kind of pushing Pam to do that so we could maybe get into phase 3 of the next project. So what I'm looking for is,
I make a motion to let Mayor Smith sign that grant amendment number 2 to extend the period of the block grant. What
well,
water project?
it's only extending it to the point of settlement. We will settle this block grant sometime before this period, but at 6/30/17 it expires. So we have to extend it to the point of settlement.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'll get this signed and send to Pam. The next thing is these things are for next time, Steve, the small city block grant drawdown. That was this, more or less this amendment, right? And then your IJDC drawdown is for the water project. We don't have that under IJDC, we got the sewage, right?
Sewage at IJDC.
Not both. So I guess it's the sewage that's, somebody made a mistake here.
I got the reports that she needed off of our banking.
I mean, it was for the sewage project, not the water. So is that for next time? Okay. We got next thing on our agenda is that Robbie's been here for well over a year. And it's time that we need to discuss giving him just a fraction of $1 raise or something. We'll have to go into executive session for that.
Let's see what I tend to do.
Can we just do the rest of the stuff then, Phoebe?
Yes. Next thing is the business licenses. What is this?
I put that on there because, the DJs in the town, I think that anybody that performs a service for money should have to have a business license to do business in the town. And a DJ is not covered under our ordinances for business license.
Are you sure? I thought I seen something in there that said it is.
I didn't see anything about DJ.
It's DJ's covered under entertainment, isn't it?
I didn't see
I believe
anything
it.
about
It's
a
under
DJ.
music, which should be considered the same thing.
Yeah. What is it? Music?
They'll provide music, and they should have a license extra, like I have to buy an extra license for my jukebox. So, you know, I don't know, like I know Glenn Miller DJs for me, and he does have that extra license. I forget what it's called. What's it called, Paul? Whenever you DJ or you have a jukebox, there's an extra license you have to have for that. I'll have to find out. I'll find out what that's called. But it's a
When you say your
license.
city license, you pay extra for
You
that,
paying for
too.
that, it's in your city license.
No, but there's a,
I know
besides
what you're talking
city,
about, yeah.
it's not even state, it's something else. It gives you copyright.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because of copyright infringements, you just can't be
Right.
doing DJing and letting people sing other people's songs without that copyright infringement.
Yeah.
I can even ask Glenn what it is, but there is one there you have to have. I have to have one for my jukebox. It's besides the city.
Okay, well, I think what
We need to
Vicky's
enforce it.
putting out here is that they should have a city license if they're working in the city to do DJ, because it is a business. So they need to file for a business license, is that right?
It'd be like a panhandler's license, more or less.
Well, I think we should make a specific ordinance, not just music or whatever, jukebox or whatever. If you are a disc jockey and you perform business in the city of Piedmont, you need a disc jockey license.
Okay, well, I guess we can look into changing that ordinance. I mean, we're
There's one
creating,
for piano tuners.
huh?
There's one for piano tuners.
Well, there's another one in there too, about musical instrumentals,
Yeah.
that they have to have a license to perform an instrumental, for an instrumental group to perform within the city limits or something.
It was only like $3 or $5 or something like that. I think I've seen it in there.
Yeah, but that was back in
1965 or something like that.
If they get a city license, don't they have to provide their state license information as well to obtain a city?
Yeah, I do when I get my business
That's what I
license.
thought, you know, because I have state. So whenever I get my city license, I have to give,
Your state tax ID,
correct.
the TIN number, tax identification.
Well, how about if we make a motion to write a city ordinance requiring a business license and have it done by the next meeting to be approved?
Sounds good. So,
Okay.
do I hear a second for that?
My second motion.
You know what, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Any, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, who's going to be the writer of this ordinance? What do, isn't there some sort of a another legal aspect before we can actually adopt this ordinance?
It has to have two public readings
Public
and
readings,
can be.
yeah.
To make it an amendment.
We could have our first reading.
Next meeting.
Okay. Okay, zoning ordinance form, is there another?
We had to drop this off a couple weeks ago for a zoning form. I guess she's trying to get liquor license. And she has to have it signed by someone here. Nobody was real sure what to do with it.
I talked to Richard Bucklider, and he said it's up to her to make sure that she falls under every guideline for obtaining a liquor license. It's like so many distance from the church, you know, and she has to follow she has to ensure that she is within all those guidelines before this can be considered.
Well, we can sign off.
And, right, and the reason that it's as a zoning form is because although she has an existing business, getting a liquor license is considered new. So that's why you have to have that form.
So what does she
She needs to check West Virginia code and make sure that she is within the guidelines of everything.
I already
So
did
many
that.
How
districts
far are you from that church?
They told me how many far. They helped me fill that stuff out down in
I never
Manslaughter.
could ever get liquor license because of that church.
Mhm.
Can't remember how many feet we said it was.
Yeah, see, he said it's up to you to make sure that you fall under all the guidelines and you're
I
within.
mean, we filled out everything. The only thing I needed the city to do was the bottom paper to make sure that we were in compliance with so I'm not sure what you want me to do now with it. Because after I did everything with that, it was just take this zoning form to the city building and have them fill it out.
Okay, and they already told you that you meet every guideline?
I'm assuming so. I mean, it's 7 o'clock. I can't get a hold of Van Slaughter, obviously. I mean, she
I
filled.
think that paper there is just permission from the mayor or council for her to proceed.
Oh,
We're
And
not,
when she submits
we're
it,
not
then
giving
they-
her permission to get it, you know.
They'll-
we're-
they'll
The
make
state
it.
will be the
They'll-
one
that
to
will be
approve
the
it or not.
state,
Everything,
right.
I've done filled everything
Right.
out for that.
This paper, Mr. Lecklider said, is just to say that it has been brought before the town,
Right,
and we're giving you permission to proceed.
right.
And it's up to
It's up to the
the
state.
Right.
state to issue.
And a lot of it's to avoid the problem that's been happening. You know, I had a customer walk off the hill, they weren't even going to the doghouse. I had JT Wells there DJing, and, you know, Robbie, I'm not saying anything bad against you, okay? He hadn't even had a drink, and he was told not to go into the Piedmont Legion, because he'd already been at the doghouse, but he hadn't even been drinking. So I do have customers, and for years, it's always been like that. It was always just beer at the doghouse with no liquor, and there was never a problem, but it is a problem now. I don't entertain the idea of liquor. I know what happens with liquor. I'm not dumb. So I will have a small liquor bar, but it won't be nothing huge. I mean, I'm not gonna have nothing like the Legion has. I don't want liquor like
See,
that.
I didn't think that were allowed to obtain a liquor license because you're that close to a bar that has.
The bar's not even
No,
listed.
it's
Bar's
church.
not listed
It's
in
a church.
It's your problem.
all those numbers have changed, like before if you had to be 500 yards, it's nothing like that. They're more concerned, like,
300 feet.
it's not, the distance is not the problem. The only thing stopping it now is getting that form filled out.
Well,
Cause it's all submitted to ABC.
do we make a motion to fill that out and allow her to proceed?
Can I ask you, they don't have one yet. That's what they
I'm not
'cause
serving
you gave
liquor.
them, no, what I mean is you gave them a form. I'm just gonna tell you what I got. You gave them someone a form to fill out. So I
Right.
called ABC and they said they don't have any other form, but you've got your regular license.
I've got my
So
regular
that you
license,
need-
but I can't get my liquor license without that. They have to have that.
Okay, but they got your regular one, right?
They've got my
That's all.
regular
They said they had it there, and I said, she said they told me they were trying to figure out. They didn't, you didn't know how to answer some of the questions weren't right or something. So I
Right,
called out
just
and
that one paper is all.
that's
that-
all you have to send back into them.
Right, that's
Yeah.
all that needs to be sent is that form.
Well, all we can do is make a motion and see who agrees, who doesn't. I make a motion that we, fill this paper out for the doghouse and let her proceed from there.
I'll second it. Cause it's up to the state to do their, all we're doing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or anyone wanna discuss this further? Well, if I'm signing it, I'm gonna read it a little bit
Oh,
more thorough. Some of these yes and no answers.
Some of it.
This is stuff that, I don't really feel that comfortable about signing until it's filled out.
Well, she's already got her first page.
Look at that. It says, is it a tavern or
The
whatever?
tavern.
Huh?
It's not a private club or a tavern, right?
Right.
Some of that stuff needs to be checked off.
That's what we're supposed to check off. We're supposed to check it off.
Alright.
Ordinances in the city. So this would be now.
Right.
That's what caught my attention right there.
That's water lines and sewer lines on there.
So we probably need to call Pam and check on that, right? Pam or,
What was the question?
About this, the place is situated in an area designated for use of community development block grant funds in the municipality. A block grant is like for the sewer and water. There is sewer and water lines running through there.
Right.
I put no,
You gotta put yes there. It is situated there and there's sewer and water lines running through there. Yeah, put yes there.
restrictions and regulations.
We don't, but we need to. You're not gonna get naked dancers.
It was out again.
She's gonna hire you, Paul.
Yeah, she wouldn't get anybody.
No exotic dancers.
Just don't put a pole in.
I'm not.
Is that mine?
No.
Let's go on later.
No.
Here, above it. Here.
I think the distance between churches and is probably pretty much the same as it is with lottery machines, isn't it?
I think it's 300 feet.
I think it is too.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's
it'd
what
be the
she
same
said.
as your beer and, Wow.
Well, I know Mickey tried for a couple years and he couldn't get a liquor license because of that church.
But I think it's, I mean, all that's changed, just like lottery just changed and like where you used to be a private club to have 10 clubs, 10 machines, they put a ban on that. So then the state cut loose now, if you have the room, anybody that's, has lottery machines like I do, they're putting 7 machines. So, I mean, the state changes their laws all the time on distance and how they're doing things. Because they had a lot of places that was applying to be private clubs so they could have the 10 machines. So they put a ban on it.
She's gonna copy.
Okay, thank you guys.
I had a complaint with it. I meant, is there any, do y'all have any other questions on anything like that? We were talking about going across the street.
Right.
The only thing I do is if the public thing talks about.
I'm not complaining about it because I appreciate what you do, honest to God.
It's no big, they're not gonna be staying out.
Anytime there's a problem, I cooperate with whoever comes up here.
Alright, let's move on along here. I'm hungry, guys.
You can't get home, I hope you plan on going somewhere else.
My side by side will be up to the top of the hill and I
And
can
we're
ride.
gonna
Oh,
wait
it's
to vote
lucky.
tomorrow.
I can't.
Seal it.
I haven't been able to get to the house all day.
No, I got this one, she's gonna take it down.
I got water.
And I've been getting up
Alright, water
every
adjustments.
morning.
Well, I try to get your daughter.
Request for
I
water
would say
adjustments.
I hate getting anything.
There's nothing in the box.
I'll make sure it's there tomorrow.
Alright.
He's always been going. And
Dawn.
they tried to purchase the groceries for him, she's got groceries.
Bill,
for him.
is water adjustments request?
What about it?
We don't have any information on
I
it.
will, who asked that to put on it?
Who asked?
All the money.
I
You
didn't.
gotta deal with
I don't
it.
know.
We're doing a good job there.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't put it on there.
Was this, something Michelle put on there? We don't have no requests for water adjustments?
Mine messed up.
Mine's too.
She adjusted one already.
Well, we don't have no requests. No.
We need a motion to go
Okay.
into executive. We need a motion to go into executive. I make a motion that we go into executive session.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? We're going into executive session.
Could I ask a question or two first before you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you spell carry?
C-A-R-R-I-E.
Okay, and is this lady here replacing